for coming in person so early. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up and cheers from my Grunfist friends.
The Korean heart. It's the Korean heart.
Korean.
So you see people do this? Yes. Korean do that. They do this. Korean heart.
Right. Okay, well, we'll kick off. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your, what I can only imagine, busy weeks. A lot going on. But we really appreciate you joining us at the Water Pavilion today on what we think is an incredibly important topic, decarbonization in the water sector and decarbonization's impact on the water sector. My name's Austin Alexander. I'm with Xylem. On behalf of Xylem and our other co-presenters today, Grunfis, Agua, and K-Water, we really thank you for joining. We've been working at this for months, and it's nice to see it come together. Today's agenda we have up here, we'll have an opening session followed by a panel this morning on the energy transition's impact on water. We'll do a explanation on water net zero governance strategies before breaking for lunch. In the afternoon, we'll have a focus on decarbonization for water utilities, as well as closing remarks at the end of the day. We also hope you'll join us at 4:15 for a reception to celebrate the day's work. Looking forward to getting there. All right, but the purpose of this opening session is to set the tone of the day. As something I heard recently, leaders bring the weather, and we have some of the finest leaders in water here today to help set the weather and tone for the rest of the day. I'm going to invite each speaker up first to give a few remarks, starting first with K-Water's CEO, Dr. Young.
Hello, nice to meet you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. I am Seok Dae-yeon, CEO of K-Water. I extend my sincere gratitude to Han Hwa-jin, Minister of Environment, HP Nanda, CEO of Grunfis, and Patrick Decker, CEO of Xylem, as well as all attendees to join us for this session. Climate crisis is a global change facing our humanity. In order to establish solutions, the value of water, and achieving carbon neutrality are being emphasized more than ever. To realize net zero in the water sector, K-Water is promoting water management specialized for the climate crisis in various fields, including water, energy, and cities. K-Water is introducing cutting-edge water technologies such as AI and digital twins, and expanding eco-friendly renewable energies, including floating solar and green hydrogen. The unique water management expertise and innovative technology of K-Water are being realized through global cooperation, such as AWC platform, networking, and overseas projects. K-Water has completed 146 ODA projects in 42 countries and is implementing 25 ODA projects and 6 investment projects in 2023. As a representative example, drinking water treatment plant with K-Water's AI and neutral technologies is being constructing in the new capital city of Indonesia. In the future, K-Water will continue to work with the stakeholders, including the government and the private sector, to contribute to the achievement of carbon neutrality in the water sector. I hope this session will be an opportunity to achieving our global goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Won. Next, we have Her Excellency, Minister Hua Junhan.
Okay, Excellencies, distinguished guests, good morning. I'm Minister of Environment, Republic of Korea. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of you for your commendable efforts in organizing this event at the Water Pavilion. Today, we aim to discuss key strategies, policies, and technologies to mitigate carbon emissions and manage water resources. Water, the most vital resource that shapes our lives and economic activities, is increasingly affected by climate change. In light of this, the Water for Net Zero session holds special significance as it seeks to promote stronger water-related mitigation actions. Korea is making nationwide efforts toward carbon neutrality by effectively using water resources and reducing carbon emissions. The smart water management system, powered by artificial intelligence, is serving as a useful tool in reducing energy use. We are also implementing various renewable energy projects using water infrastructure, such as dams, to generate floating solar power, hydrothermal, and hydropower. In an effort to enhance international solidarity and cooperation on carbon mitigation and the deployment of renewables, Korea launched the Green Transition Initiative, so-called GTI, in collaboration with Indonesia. The GTI engages various countries, international organizations, and development financial institutions in taking climate action on a global scale. No single country can achieve net zero alone. It is a global challenge that requires collective action worldwide. Today's discussion will further our collective efforts and bring us closer to a sustainable future. Korea will remain an active and cooperative member of the global community in its ongoing climate actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Now, HP Nanda, CEO of Water Utilities for Grundfos.
Good morning, everyone, those of us in the room, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening if you are watching this live stream from anywhere in the world. First of all, I wanted to thank you, the colleagues and friends at Xylem, at Agua and K-Water, and my team at Grundfos to really co-curate and bring this amazing agenda for today. As you think about the agenda, I wanted to have 3 provoking questions in front of us. The number 1, are we all in this race together? I don't think this is a journey any one individual, one team, one company can do it. And the demonstration of 4 partners coming and co-curating this agenda today is a testimony that we need to bring the whole village if you really think about getting to net zero. Second, is net zero good enough? Probably not. I think it is a necessary condition, but not sufficient. What do I mean by this? In addition to net zero, we need to have 2 additional things to really make the world a better place. Number 1, climate resiliency along with net zero. The world is going to see more climate changes, more droughts, more floods. And if we do not build resiliency in our urban environment, in the rural communities, I don't think the journey to net zero will be helping us. So we need to do both of them. Third one, water access. I don't think any one of us would be super proud if by 2050, the water industry in the world has achieved net zero, but we still have 1 billion people without water access. I don't think that's a good place to be. So combining water access, combining climate resiliency along with net zero, how do we really holistically solve all the three problems together and make the world a better place is something, how do we keep in the forefront as we look at our discussions today. And the last, I strongly believe many times we have these big ambitions, big agendas, but how do you really take them to the ground and make action? It all boils down to mentally orienting ourselves. We are not going to have one global solution that will be applicable everywhere because the one world doesn't exist. The world has different pockets of opportunities and challenges. Maybe in United States or in Europe, it's more about driving energy efficiency and energy optimization because we have a lot of old infrastructure of last 50 years and 60 years still in place. So how do we really drive energy efficiency and optimization before we think about bringing renewable energy to get to net zero? If we think about places like Africa, where solar energy, how do you really accelerate the journey of solar energy so that from the day one we think about a net zero as we solve the water access challenge? Or you think about here in Middle East or in Gulf, where desalination is still probably going to be the way to get water. How do you think about solar desalination, more sustainable ways of desalination so that we can provide water but still do things in the right way? Above all, I strongly believe thinking like whether we call rainwater harvesting or in my language we call it sustainable aquifer management. When rain happens, how do we catch water and manage the aquifer locally so that we can manage the ecosystems in a more micro environments around the world and bring climate resiliency, bring water access, bring net zero all together. So looking forward to an exciting journey ahead, and thank you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, HP. Next, we have Rachel McDonald, Deputy Director General for the Research and Development of IWMI.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, and thank you to AGWA, Grundfos, K-Water, and Xylem. So I come from a different angle, and I'm here representing the International Water Management Institute, which is an organization that works on water and agriculture and energy systems. So we are part of the green water as well as the blue water we've been talking about. But I'm also representing WINS, which is the Water Initiative to Net Zero, which is AGWA, IUCN, and IMI, because we're really trying to catalyze change in that space. So what is it we can do in terms of water and food systems? Well, you will know that 28% of greenhouse gas emissions comes from food systems. So imagine linking water systems, where we're about 4%, to agriculture. We can make some really critical wins here. Whilst, of course, we're water people by heart, but by bringing in that food systems. So we're a research and innovation center. So we work on trying to measure and find evidence and catalyze change from that. So some of the work we have been looking at is restoring rice fields and bringing back natural systems. And we can, by bringing in those pastures into old rice areas, we're able to lock up 13 tons of carbon per hectare. Restoring mangroves, again, taking food systems, bringing back nature systems, it's important. We're also very aware that one of the big users of energy, and you mentioned that, is lifting water, groundwater irrigation to help our food systems. We still need irrigation, but what we want is solar-based irrigation. So can we bring solar into this? And we have a really important project across India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal, where we're looking at policies and drivers and enabling environment to try and transition our farmers away from diesel pumps to solar pumps. They're a little bit more expensive. They're a little bit more tricky. But what we're able to do is we're able to not only support farmers to have cheaper energy, but what we have to then preserve is water. If farmers are able to pump for very little cost because it's solar, we need to make sure that there isn't over abstraction of those groundwater systems. So we are trying to build with that what we call the second crop, being able to sell that solar energy into the grid, so the farmer not only gets an income from the crop he or she are growing, they're also able to get that energy. So we are trying to look at green water and blue water and all those different ways we can do it. And some of that's also in wastewater reuse. So taking the outputs from your wastewater systems, recycling, using the gas for biogas, using the fecal sludge for enhancing soils, which are better for agriculture, but reusing that water in agriculture, taking on board safety and health considerations and all that. We're doing this in a number of countries, and it's really making. We need to use our fecal sludge more than once, we need to use our water more than once, and we can use that through agricultural systems. So thank you very much for bringing agriculture and IMI into this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. And finally, I have my friend and yours, Mr. Patrick Decker from CEO of Xylem.
Well, good morning. It's hard to follow those opening comments. I'd like to kind of zoom out for a moment, if you would indulge me. I want to thank my colleagues here for joining this morning. I want to thank all of you here, all of you that are online. I know we say it all the time that we're all busy. I'm going to come back to a very important concept here to frame what we're talking about. At Xylem, we talk about the work that we're all doing here together. We have the opportunity of a lifetime. We've never been in a place like this in this precious planet Earth. I used to say when I was younger that the only finite resource on the planet is water. And physically, that's true. But then I learned over time, as I got older, that the other finite resource in our lives is time. And the thing about time that makes it so ubiquitous is that none of us know how much of it we have, nor do we know how much our loved ones or our colleagues have. So when you think about the importance of where we spend our time as leaders in organizations that have resources, we have talent, we have technologies, we have insights, we have passion, when you combine time with purpose, you create impact. Well, the world needs impact now as it relates to managing water more than ever before. We're at a tipping point. If we don't turn the momentum, first of all, awareness of the world to how precious water is. I don't like the words, personally, I don't like the words water sector. Water is not a separate thing. Water runs through our economy, it runs through society, it is life. It's not a sector. I understand why we use the words water sector, but I think we need to invite people to be more inclusive, that there is no life without water. I'm actually very impressed by the progress that utilities around the world have made in the race to net zero. I'm not surprised by that because these are civil servants. These are good, hardworking people that wake up every morning and they're thinking about how do we provide safe, clean drinking water to our communities? How do we manage wastewater in a responsible way? But they're struggling. They're struggling with resources. They're struggling with funding. They're struggling with awareness. Nobody ever says thank you to them. They only get phone calls complaining about problems. It's also not understood how much greenhouse gas emissions are created by managing wastewater and producing clean, safe drinking water. This is not because our civil servants wake up in the morning and say, I want to create greenhouse gas. Okay? Their number one job is to provide a basic essential service to communities. And we are all that community. It's not them, it's us. HP, I want to thank you, for being here. A lot of people would look at Xylem and Grundfos and say, well, they're competitors. Sure. Competitors make each other better, okay? We bring better technology because we're trying to be the best we can possibly be. We're inspired by each other, and there's so many others that are out there. We have a tagline at Xylem, it's called Let's Solve Water. I always say remove the apostrophe, and it says let us solve water. It's not the technology providers, it's not the utility, it's not other associations that are gonna do it on our own. It's these kind of collaborations that speak to the world, that we all work together, we can solve this. We do a lot of work with youth and getting young people involved in this. And I want to add to something that HP had said earlier. We agree that the two biggest challenges in our view of the world, and we operate in 150 countries around the world, is scarcity, call it scarcity of water, call it access to water. It's not just at a household level. It's not just farming communities. More and more businesses, commerce. The value of water to most businesses is not the price per liter or gallon. It's when they don't have access to it and they stop production. They lose revenue. It's economic dislocation. They end up moving around the world. It dislocates economies at scale. Second is resilience to climate change. That's not getting any better anytime soon. Not in my lifetime. But what I want to add to what HP said is, and this is where youth are beginning to understand this, is they are tired of hearing that these issues are there, but we can't afford to pay for it. That is nonsense. The technologies exist to cut greenhouse gas emissions in the water utility space by up to 50% at a zero or even negative cost, meaning a positive return, if we deploy those technologies. And they are affordable. That's where the technology sector comes into play, is using new approaches through digital, data analytics, AI, to make our water system smarter and more efficient. I want to thank everybody who's taken the time to join in person, that's joining online. We've got a lot of expertise and passion in this room and beyond. We need to harness that passion and talent. We have a lot of work to do here today, but we have a lot more work to do coming out of this. We need to be the champions for the future. This is the opportunity of a lifetime that we have to change the momentum in the water discussion around the race to net zero. Thank you, Austin. I'll hand it back over to you, and thank again to all of you.
Thank you, Patrick, and to all of our speakers. We so appreciate your time this morning. We have a short break now, and I believe we start up at 10:30 with our next panel on the energy sector decarbonization impact on water. I hope you join us for that. Thank you.